Hi guys. Welcome. It's the video everyone has been asking about. Not really. Maybe like 3 people. Anyway, so in this video I'm going to be showing you guys all about this heavenly beast right here. This is my Juki Industrial DU-1181N. It's the sewing machine I use 98% of the time. And I've had mine for about 2 years. And yeah, so let me tell you the story about my sewing machine. In case you had nothing better to do and you just wanted to listen to this, I'm here to tell you. So, I used to sew on a Brothers CS6000i, which I won off of a bidding website of all places. I had like a $45 sewing machine that my husband, then boyfriend, bought me for Black Friday, and it was not the best, but it was $45, so whatever. And so I won it off of a bidding site, and it was like the quilting machine. I think altogether I paid like $120 for it, even though I paid $2 or $4 for it or something like that. But you had to like buy the bids. Anyway, would not recommend that. Just buy the machine. And so I sewed on that. I think it's safe to say I sewed that into the ground. I remember I made like 6 of this one handbag with glitter vinyl, and I just cried and cursed the entire time because none of them turned out right. None of them looked good. It was awful. I'm sure a lot of you guys feel that pain. If you guys have domestic sewing machines and you're watching me use this video and you're like, you make it look so simple. Like, it wasn't always that simple, so understand that. So I upgraded then to the Brother Laura Ashley machine. It was like a CX something or other. I bought it because it was pink and flowery, I'm not gonna lie. I bought it off of Amazon and I was so excited when it came, and then I sewed that into the ground. And I was finally getting good enough that like my sewing machine just wasn't keeping up with me, and we lived in a very small house. I was sharing a bedroom with my husband as our office space, so he was on one half of this tiny bedroom with his computer and gaming, and I was on the other half, and I was like, I want this industrial sewing machine so bad. I've seen a few people talk about it. There's a walking foot one, and there's one without a walking foot, but I don't know what to get. It's a lot of money, and we have nowhere to put it. And he's like, we will reorganize. You have saved up some money from your sewing. Why don't you just get it? If it's gonna make your sewing easier, if it's gonna make it better, just get it. We were engaged then, but I knew then that I really wanted to marry him. Like, just get it. Yes, I will. So I purchased mine off of Amazon. I watched as many videos as I could find on YouTube about it. And I didn't know of any sewing machine dealers in the area. I think I was on Sewing Gold or Sewing Machine USA, something like that. Nothing that I knew of, and it was cheapest on Amazon. So I bought mine off of Amazon. I can't 100% say that I would recommend that, because if this ever needs servicing, I have no one to call, and I think it's like $300 an hour for someone to come look at it. So my fingers are crossed that I never F this thing up. Part of my alphabet. But so I ordered it off of Amazon, and it was shipped from a trucking company about 2 weeks later, and I was so excited. I had nested, like, I'd cleaned out my sewing room, I nested for it, I decluttered some fabric and all this stuff, I vacuumed. It was miraculous. So it finally came, and they drop it off. It's already been built, so it's wrapped in boxes and like plastic wrap. I'm getting emotional talking about it. No, it's just really cold. And so yeah, the trucking company delivered it in front of my house, and it weighs a lot, and I had no way of getting it into my house. Someone watching, I know her name starts with an M, I'm sorry, I think it's Melinda. She just recently felt this pain, so I'm so sorry, and it kind of reminded me, so I wanted to share. But so it was delivered in my driveway. At the time, I lived in a tiny A-frame house that had a spiral staircase to the upstairs where my sewing area was. Luckily, there was a back door, but it was full of spiders, so I just wanted to avoid it. Not possible. So it sat in my driveway for several hours and I cried. And I called everyone I knew, and it was like 10 a.m. and everyone's like, we're at work, we're not strong enough, we can't help you. So my friend Brittany, her husband, and I were able to carry it around the back of the house inside, and I think I cried and told everyone I knew. I was like, my sewing machine is outside and I just want it in my house so I can use it, but I can't. Yeah. So shout out to Jace. Not that you'll ever see this. I will never forget you helping me carry this into my house. So yeah, I set it up and I kept trying to sew with it, and it was not easy, you guys. It was not easy. I think I cried a lot trying to figure out how to use it. And yeah, so if you guys are struggling, hopefully this video will help. I know that's a long-winded intro, but we're gonna get into the ins and outs of this machine. To my knowledge, I'm not a professional, but I've had it for 2 years, so I guess I kind of know. I guess it's like if you're parenting and you're like, well, my kid's not dead yet. This kid's not dead yet. Alright, you guys, so we are just gonna work our way from the bottom to the top to talk about this machine. So this is the foot pedal. This is what the base should look like. It does come with a table. When you push on this, it makes it go. So that's the foot pedal. It can be adjusted across these squares here so you can get it exactly where it would work for you. My husband helped me kind of fit it into place and figure out where I wanted everything to go. Along the floor is all the thread that will, you know, subsequently come from you cutting the thread from your bag while you're sewing. So it's unavoidable. And that's all there is to it. Over here in the corner is lily white oil. I'm gonna just walk across. I'm in my pajamas, deal with it. I feel like that's a necessity for when sewing. So this is the oil. This is a gallon jug from Amazon. It is lily white oil, and I will have a link down below, or maybe up here if I can figure out how to do that. I want to say this was like $22, and you're definitely going to want it because this machine only comes with a little spout for the most part for oiling your machine. And it's definitely not going to last you forever, so I would recommend having one of these. It is odorless, colorless, it won't stain. I think it's odorless. Let's just like huff it really quick. Yeah, for the most part, it's, oh, no, I'm just kidding. It's odorless. All right, you guys, so the next part I'm gonna show you is the knee lever, the knee raise, the speed sensor. This is a servo motor, not a clutch motor. So let's start with the main part. This is the on-off switch. It will glow when it's on. When it's off, it won't glow. Pretty self-explanatory. This here will raise the foot of the machine. You can see up there, up, down, like that. This can also be adjusted. It can be lowered, raised, wherever it'll work for you. I actually use my left knee to raise it, not my right. You might find that it works a little differently for you. You definitely want to get comfortable. I'm not sure what this does. I've never had to touch it. It's a fuse. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm gonna scoot you in a little closer. This back here is your speed setting. I usually honestly have it set to about the 1280, but when you are winding a bobbin, you can let it go a little bit faster. It's actually good for your machine to run it pretty fast to get the oil circulating, and I will show you the oil pan in just a minute. Trying to think of what else I can tell you about this area. Oh, your table can be raised and lowered. Mine cannot be lowered because it's as low as it can go. But we could bring it to the top. Like we'll never stop. No? Anybody? No? Okay. So over here, there is a drawer, which I didn't know for the first couple weeks that there was a drawer there. Your machine should come with a little screwdriver. It might come with some actual Juki sewing machine needles that I've never used. Can we focus, please? Focus, people. Yeah. I've never used these. But this is the kind of machine or needle you'll need. It's the DP-X17. This is a thickness of 21, which is pretty thick. On average, I like to use 19 or 20. So, yeah. I get my machine needles from wawak.com, W-A-W-A-K. W-A-W-A-K.com, yeah. So size 20, size 19. I was gonna say, I thought I've been using 19, so there's that. Another thing I keep in this little drawer is like a wrench. I did buy some, well actually I was given some other feet from Gold Star Tool. These are pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't switched on and off a lot lately because I am lazy. But look how cute this little foot is here. So this is the left foot, I guess, because a normal walking foot has one on both sides, but this here, I'm gonna call these like little baby feet, but they like just kind of walk along your fabric, really cute. So that's good if you are working with something you need to get really close to, but my machine didn't love them. They also sell like piping feet and stuff like that, and you'll just want to look on their website to see if it's compatible with your machine. But I think that's just about all I can tell you about this area, so we're gonna move on up. And now we get to talk about the most beautiful part, what they call the head of the sewing machine. Just move that Netflix player out of the way. So yeah, this is the stitch length selector. In order to move it down, you're good, but if you want to move it back up, oh, I guess mine goes pretty easily, but sometimes at first it's a little hard to move, so you're gonna want to push this down to select your stitch length. Or maybe it's, okay, you have to move it down to go smaller. I lied. You can go bigger, but you can't go smaller easily, so you just want to hold that down to reselect it. So I'm just using my pinky to press it down. That's a little pro tip. Even though, wow, is it sad that I never ever noticed this? I feel like that's really sad. Wow. Learn something new every day. So these are just little magnets that I've added so that I can easily access my seam ripper and my thread snips. The links for these items are down below. They are affiliate links, so I get a little tiny bit of the purchase you make. So that just helps me keep going, keep posting videos. So let's go ahead and thread the machine. I'll talk you through that, hopefully easily. So when you're when you're changing your thread, it's best to cut it off and pull it through. It's just because that's the way thread was meant to go through a machine. So if you pull it out the other way, I know it saves thread, but it could like leave bits of thread in your machine that probably shouldn't be there. Probably being the operative word there. So this part here kind of comes out. Mine's pretty loose. I just try and keep it in there, but you'll want to see those holes. I'm using Tex 92 bonded polyester thread. This was recommended to me by my friend Ashley, which was recommended to her by someone, which was recommended to her by someone. So I'm crediting my original source. And It is the thread that I have found to be the best. I know I've gone through 2 other thread types, which was the Mara 100, and that was by Gutermann, and the other was Superior Threads Tex 46. I liked those for a while, but I ended up not loving them. The Mara 100 was a little thin, and the Tex 46 really like frayed a lot in my machine, which was upsetting. I've had very minimal issues with this thread, and I do enjoy it. Oh yeah, I was threading it. Okay, so you want to start from the bottom. No, start from the top and loop around to the bottom and pull through. So it should kind of wrap around. And then you're going to go through this little hole here. And wow, I've never like consciously threaded this machine, so it's going to take me a minute. And then you're going to slide it through this tension disc and then through this hole. I probably should have used a thread other than white. I'm so sorry, you guys. So we'll zoom a little in. Oh, sorry. Okay. So then you're going to slide it through this little loop here. We're going to come around through the tension disc. You might need to press up on your foot a little bit so it can easily slide in. And once it catches, go around this little plastic piece here, and then when you pull, it should kind of move with you. And then you're going to go around this arm, this little outstretched finger, through that. And then the looper, I'm going to call it because I'm used to sergers, but there's a little hole right here in this item. You can't see it because this is in the way, but that's to protect your hands. I know that one. You're gonna pull it up and through and just give it a little tug. It should not move unless your foot is up, and then it should allow the fabric to come through. The thread. And then you're gonna move it around this part here. Make sure it clicks in. And then there's this little thread holder right here. And you're going to come through there once and then twice, so it's all the way through. It's not caught in any of the loops. And then there is another little hole for you to slide your thread at the needle, the base. And you can bring it all the way up. And you want to thread from back to front or from left to right through the hole of the needle. Come on now. It's easier from the other direction. I'm not on the normal side. Yeah, there we go. So that is how you thread your machine. I'm a genius for having white thread in. Please feel free to leave a comment about how I'm not the smartest crayon in the box, or the sharpest for that matter. I'm not the sharpest seam ripper in the bunch. Okay. So these are your tension discs. If you're having some issues, you can loosen your tension or tighten the tension. And I've never touched this one, so I can't tell you much about it. Right down here is where you add your bobbin. My bobbin case is very dusty. I've been on a marathon sewing spree. So there is that bobbin case. What you want to do is you want to make sure the tail of your bobbin is to the right. And you kind of want to loop it through like a number 9. So here's the back, here's the front. So I slide it in and then pull on this thread through there and then just right outside that little hole right there. And then to put it in your machine, you want to pull up, I'm gonna call it a handle. You're gonna hold that. This locks your bobbin into place. And then stick it into the bobbin casing. Make sure that the little pole in the bobbin holder goes through the center, not any of the other ones. Not like I've ever done that. And then you can hold on to this thread. Once it disengages, you can kind of just pull it all through. Oh, come on. There we go. Come on out of there. Okay, I messed it up. It's easier if I'm sitting down. You get the idea. I'm allowed to mess up. It's fine. So let's go over. This is the reverse lever, not a level, it's the reverse lever. So when you want to go backwards, you push this down. When you want to go forwards, you leave it up. This is your needle positioner here, so while the machine is moving, that will also spin, which is pretty natural for just about any sewing machine. That needle positioner is going to move. And then over here is the bobbin winder. And I will show you guys how to wind a bobbin once we get a little further into the video. I have a light attached to my machine that is from massdrop.com, but I bought it kind of at a discounted rate, and they don't have it at that rate anymore. I believe I have a link down below to Amazon, but there's just like a little on-off switch and it provides a lot of light. My only negative thing about it is that it clamps to the table, so when I'm sewing really fast, the bulb will get kind of disconnected and flash on and off, which I'm sure you guys have seen. And then another little thing I've added is Michaels has these like little silicone side cup holders for their craft carts. And I found it's really handy to keep my marking tools in and my little ruler and set stuff on because it's got a silicone base, so that's really nice. So let's kind of talk about how to care for your machine. You want to make sure you keep your bobbin area pretty well cleaned out. Mine is not at the moment, but it's fine. And I've only changed the oil on my machine once, and I need to do it soon, so I'll probably upload another video on that and eventually link it in this video. This machine, actually, you can lift up on it and lay it back, which blew my mind the very first time I saw this. Mine is super dirty, but you can see there it's draining oil. This down here is the oil pan, and it'll have a high marking point and a low marking point. Mine right now is at the high, but it's very dirty, so I need to just totally clean it out. Yeah, I think the cap is over here. You just kind of drain it and fix it. Make it all better, you know. But these are the oil pump mechanisms here that feed through your machine. This is also a great way for you to clean out the bobbin casing, and there you can see the bobbin, which is still caught from earlier. But if you ever get something stuck in your bobbin, this is a great way to go in and check and make sure, like, you know, if you broke a needle or something. Not that anyone here has ever done that, huh? So yeah, that is the underneath of your machine. And then you can just really slowly bring it back down and it'll lay right into place. Again, that blew my mind the first time I saw it, so I definitely wanted to show you guys that. And then mine came with this little oil spout here, but another machine I purchased came with this one, so I just kind of used this one, and this does like extend out. It's pretty cool. You want to oil the indicated spots after, I would say, every 8 hours of sewing, probably, maybe once a week. But there are these little orange spots So let me count what I can find. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major spots that I can see. There's one back here, 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 and here. And you want to just kind of like hit those once a day, maybe while you're running your bobbin winder or something like that. Just to kind of keep your machine well oiled, free of debris, etc. And something that I found that blew my mind is that there is a little lever right here, which when you push down on your knee lever and click all the way into place, you'll see it leaves the sewing machine foot all the way up. Not all the way, but it leaves it up. Let me brighten this a bit more for you. Let's see if I can zoom in. I'm so sorry. So you can see there's some space underneath. And this comes in handy when you're winding your bobbin, because you don't want your feed dogs and your walking foot to like gnash together that whole time, because it'll be really loud. So when you lift that up, it just disengages that, but make sure that you put it back down when you're sewing, because otherwise it's not going to catch the bobbin tension. So to put it back down, you want to lift up on the knee lever and disengage that switch, and then it'll lay back down nicely. There are also some spots on the top of your machine. These will pop off, and you want to add some oil into those spots as well, just to keep it well circulated. There's one here, and there's one over on this side that you want to check on, here and there. And now I'm going to take you to the top of the machine just to show you a view. We're going to call it a bird's eye view, but it's not. And then I'm going to show you guys how to wind the bobbin, and then that'll be it for the video. Okay, so here is a more bird's eye view and a good view of the bobbin winder. You can wind your bobbin while you're sewing. I never found that it worked out well for me. Sometimes my machine would forget to, and like it just wouldn't engage the flip back thing. And then I would overwind a bobbin, and I would ruin all of that time, and I'd have to throw away that whole thing of thread because I don't have patience. So there is a little oil indicator here, and when you're going fast enough, you'll see it like start to bubble. That's a good thing. You want to be able to see that the oil is circulating throughout your machine. So that's really important. Oh, there's like grease in there. Okay. Most of these little rubber pieces will come up, but if they don't come up easy, don't force them. Just throwing that out there. So let me go ahead and show you guys how to wind a bobbin, and then I think that's pretty much all the ins and outs I can show you guys without physically being next to you, which, you know, I wish I could. That would be super fun. My machine did come with a manual, but it's all in Chinese, so I was SOL when trying to figure out anything other than, you know, looking at the cool photos. So my machine came with a few bobbins. I bought a bunch off of eBay for really cheap. Let me see if I have that information. I bought it from CutX Sewing Supplies. It was a pack of 100 for, I don't know, like $18, $20. They're all black, which at first I was a little worried about, but it turns out they work pretty well, so I have more than I could ever hope for. So to start, I'm just going to take my thread, and on the back here there is a bobbin winder. You're going to go through the hole first and then slip it through the tension discs. You want to make sure you slide it through and all the way to the front. There is a little knob for you to adjust on the side so you can hold your thread. And then you'll slip it through one of the holes to the right and slide it onto the holder all the way. If it doesn't go all the way, it's not the right size bobbin and things won't engage properly. Everybody wants to be engaged. So I'm lifting up on my foot and I'm engaging that lever we just talked about. And then I've pushed this forward. This mechanism here will push back and forth. Mine is super loose because I changed my belt. Something got messed up. I don't know, it's annoying. So I don't always wind my bobbins this way. And I just, oh, you want to have your machine turned on. Turned on. And go. And you can actually turn your speed up even more. And it should click like that when it's done winding the bobbin. If you do turn up your speed, make sure you turn it back down before you start sewing again, because you're gonna scare the crap out of yourself. And then that's it. Your bobbin has been wound, and you know what? I think you're ready to sew. I think you can try it now. I believe in you. I really do. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, comment if you have this machine and I taught you something. Comment if you have this machine and you need to teach me something. Thanks, guys. You thought it was over, but it's not. I thought it would be kind of fun to give you a really short tour. Obviously, this is optional because the teaching moment is over. Kind of my studio space. So these are all pieces of artwork that kind of speak to me. This one I actually drew and I'd love to sell prints of someday. It says "Stay Sharp." Super cute. Little seam ripper. These are from Watts a lot, W-A-T-T-S. She is a fabric designer for, she was a fabric designer, Sarah Watts. I'm not sure if she is anymore. I mean, she is, but anyway. This is a print that I found at a convention that, you know, is basically me. And I fell in love with it and I had to buy it. Coraline. And then these are pegboards from IKEA that I purchased, where I keep all of my thread. I painted them pink, of course. And then this is another art print that I hope to sell eventually. Little stuffed animals in the window, because, you know, why not? This is my Juki TL-2000QI that I don't use as often, but it's a great domestic machine. It just doesn't work that well for making handbags that I make. Another little area. This is my cylinder arm, and a lot of you guys have talked about cylinder arm machines. This one and I don't get along as well as I would have liked. I have a lot of learning to do and I just haven't had the time, but I do enjoy the machine. It's nice to have. So if you're debating between a flatbed and a cylinder arm, and you think you would use a cylinder arm, you may as well start with that, because I learned on a flatbed, so it's kind of hard to switch to a cylinder arm. This is my embroidery machine. I do embroidery. These are my serging machines, as well as my cover stitch machine, and then my little embroidery section. And here is my wall of zippers. Most of these zippers were purchased from Zipper Island on Etsy, and I do have a coupon code with her. It is blog10, so you can save 10% on your zipper purchases. These are my rivet press machines, which are from Gold Star Tool, as well as some rulers. I keep my rivets in these cups here, and I labeled them, you know, because I'm just a big old loser. This is my studio space. Got my TV there. This is where Ben sits. This is where I keep projects I'm working on. This is where I nap and where my friends can hang out. I have a little nail station and my wall of things that I'm into. This is all the hardware that I sell. So if you guys ever need hardware, be sure to check out my website. The link is below. This is my cutting table that my dad and I built from 2 IKEA shelves and some really thick like particle board, and it's covered with cutting mats and all kinds of fabric. My 2 heat presses, so this is like my cutting and interfacing area. More zipper storage, fabric storage, interfacing storage. Here's more junk storage. And then this is all of my like interfacing and vinyls and fabrics and interfacings. This is the nicest it's looked for a while, actually. And then back there is my computer and my cutting, or not cutting, but my packing area. And then up the stairs is my bedroom and the rest of our house. And then around the corner is the unfinished part of the basement where I keep all of my hardware, etc. So that was the mini tour of my workspace. And now the video is really over. Okay, bye!